Hey guys, welcome back to Rev Atlas, and today we're going to be taking a look at the review of the Samsung Galaxy M11. And before we get this started, please do make sure to hit the subscribe button and also turn on notifications for more videos like this from us. Now let's begin the video. Now let's start by addressing the elephant in the room, which is the fact that at least on paper, the Galaxy M11 seems to be a downgrade in some aspects compared to the Galaxy M10s. Now after testing, we found that it actually is a downgrade in some aspects, especially when it comes to the screen. Now the Galaxy M10s had a 6.4-inch Super AMOLED panel, which was great both in terms of sunlight legibility, the contrast, as well as the overall brightness and the dynamic colors that the display had on offer. In comparison, you get the same 6.4-inch HD Plus panel, but the M11 makes use of a TFT panel, which in comparison is not as impressive. It's still a decent panel for the price range and is better in terms of sunlight legibility compared to some of its competition, but it's definitely a downgrade for sure. What can be considered an upgrade in terms of the screen is basically the camera cutout, which is now on the left upper portion, and this means that there's less intrusion in terms of videos compared to the notch that was there in the center on the M10s. In terms of design, is more or less similar, and it can immediately be identified as being a Galaxy M series device, and it has a more rounded design compared to the M10s, which does help mask the fact that it has grown across all three dimensions. It is also heavier owing to the fact that it has a larger battery inside it and is heavier by almost 30 grams. Build quality is still fairly good, although it uses plastic in its construction, which many people may find not as premium as glass, but it definitely is more durable since it's less susceptible to breakage compared to glass, but definitely is more scratch prone as well. It's available in three different colors, namely black, metallic blue and violet, out of which we have the metallic blue variant, and it does seem to have a touch of green to it apart from just being a direct blue color. And this in fact is our favorite color as well. Thanks to the rounded corners and the matte finish on the back, it's actually easy to handle and does give good grip as well, and it barely slipped out of our hands during usage. You get two different methods of biometric authentication, the first being a fingerprint scanner that's housed at the back. This is a capacitive always on unit and it works fairly well, but is a bit slow in terms of unlocking. The same applies for the front facing camera as well, which is used for the face unlock mechanism, and this too takes its own sweet time, which we hope Samsung tweaks and makes faster with upcoming software updates. Another major change that we saw is in the form of the chipset, which has gone from an Exynos 7884B on the M10s to a Snapdragon 450 chipset, which at a price point of over 10,000 rupees doesn't make much sense. If you're a casual user and maybe even a casual gamer with minimal apps running in the background, this phone will work. But then again, if you're intending on playing high-end games or doing much of multitasking, then this won't be sufficient for you. It comes in two different configurations, one with 3GB of RAM and 32GB of storage, and the other with 4GB of RAM and 64GB of storage, and both can be expanded using a dedicated microSD card slot, which also can house two nano SIM card slots. In terms of audio, you have a single bottom firing loudspeaker, which does not get all that loud to be honest, and is not a very great experience in terms of quality either. What is a better experience is the headphone jack that's housed at the top, which gets fairly loud and also has good audio reproduction. But then again, this is not compatible with higher end headphones, but also considering the fact that this is a lower end smartphone, I don't think you will be using it for that purpose anyway. You get a triple camera setup at the back that comprises of a 13 megapixel f1.8 camera, a 5 megapixel ultra wide angle camera with f2.2 aperture, and finally a 2 megapixel depth sensor. So in essence, the depth sensor is what has been added here compared to the M10s, and to be honest, it does not make much of a difference since the edge detection is still poor and portrait mode is poor as well. Anyway, we'll get to that and the camera samples in detail during our camera review, so please do stay tuned for that. And you also get an 8 megapixel f2.0 front facing camera. Powering the Galaxy M11 is a 5000 mAh battery, which does pretty well in terms of the overall battery life, considering that we got close to 10 hours on a single charge, and in fact maybe more depending on your usage. So it should last most people 2 days of use, and even heavy users over 1 day of use. With respect to charging times, we didn't get one consistent result. At times it took us 2.5 hours, while at other times it took us 2 hours and 15 minutes to charge the battery to full 100%. Overall, when you look at the Galaxy M11, it definitely did seem like a downgrade on paper compared to the M10s, and even after testing, I can't help but actually stress that it is indeed a downgrade compared to the M10s. The only area where you see a huge tangible difference is in terms of the battery life, because it gets a larger battery as well as a more efficient chipset itself. Other than that, the display is actually worse. You get a depth sensor which doesn't really help all that much. you get a larger footprint as well as having to pay out much more for the M11. The M11 costs you Rs 10,999 for the 3GB variant and Rs 12,999 for the 4GB variant. At that price point, I would rather go for the Redmi Note 8, and it makes sense if the Galaxy M11 was priced below 10,000 rupees because it deserves to be around 2 to 2,500 cheaper than it's currently priced at. Thanks for watching this video. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. See you again in the next one.